Snow fell lightly on the rooftops of the remote Transylvanian village as I arrived, the chill in the air biting at my cheeks. The villagers seemed welcoming, their smiles warm despite the cold. My purpose was clear: to provide medical aid to this secluded community. Little did I know, my journey would become a spine-chilling descent into horror. The village had a reputation, whispered among townsfolk far and wide, of ancient myths and eerie legends. One such tale was of a vampire, said to awaken every 1,000 years when the wolves howl at a red full moon. These tales, though spine-tingling, were dismissed as mere folklore. But in 6 days, the end of the 1,000-year slumber would come, and the vampire would rise again. I stayed in an old, creaky house at the edge of the village. Its musty air and worn wood gave off an unsettling vibe, but it provided shelter from the biting cold. One evening, as I explored the dusty attic, I stumbled upon an ancient diary. The pages, brittle with age, detailed the legend of the vampire's awakening. According to the diary, in 6 days, the village would face unimaginable horror. With a sense of urgency, I shared the diary's contents with the villagers. They chuckled and brushed off my concerns, reassuring me it was just a story told to scare children. Despite their dismissal, a nagging feeling of dread settled in my stomach. As the days passed, whispers of brutal killings began to surface. Bodies were found, mangled and drained of blood, their lifeless eyes reflecting sheer terror. The villagers attributed these deaths to a rogue band of occultists, not realizing the true horror that lay in wait. On the 6th day, the village was bathed in the eerie glow of a red full moon. The air was thick with anticipation, and a chilling howl echoed through the night, reverberating through the very bones of the village. The ancient vampire had awakened. From my attic hideaway, I watched in horror as the monstrous vampire emerged from the shadows, its eyes burning with an insatiable hunger. The creature moved with unnerving grace, its presence a dark silhouette against the moonlit snow. The wolf's howl seemed to guide it, leading it to its prey. One by one, the villagers fell to the vampire's wrath. I could hear their screams, mingling with the howls of wolves. The vampire's fangs gleamed in the moonlight as it tore through flesh, leaving behind a trail of blood and despair. My heart pounded in my chest, my breath coming in shallow gasps as I struggled to remain silent. I tried to run, to escape the nightmare unfolding before me, but my body refused to obey. I was rooted in place, a helpless witness to the carnage. The vampire's gaze locked onto mine, and at that moment, I knew it had found me. Desperate, I fled from the attic, stumbling through the snow-covered streets. The vampire pursued, its presence a constant shadow. I could feel its icy breath on my neck, its claws reaching out to claim me. Just as I felt the vampire's grip tighten around me, the first rays of dawn pierced the horizon. The sunlight burned the vampire's flesh, forcing it to retreat with a deafening screech. I collapsed, my body trembling with exhaustion and fear. The vampire had been driven back, but the horrors I had witnessed would forever haunt me. The memory of its eyes, filled with hunger and malice, burned into my mind. The village was left in ruins, its once warm and welcoming community now a ghost town. The few survivors, including myself, spoke little of that night, the terror too great to recount. I left Transylvania, but the horrors of that remote village would forever linger in my thoughts. Every howl of a wolf, every shadow in the night, would remind me of the vampire that almost claimed my life. The legend of the ancient vampire was no longer a myth, but a living nightmare that would haunt me for the rest of my days.